Hey everyone. Hey F-Stop, Lockmond, Nathan, Turismo Blue, D-Ball94, thank you very much. Bit ramshackle I feel, but gets the job done. Turismo Blue, I've just realised, like, TB303. Is that intentional? I suspect so. Lockman, yeah, I'm a big coffee drinker. I've got a bit of a morning ritual with a mocha pot with a stovetop percolator, and I never wash it. That might have been a 2 coffee day as well. I try to only have one of those per day because it just makes me a bit anxious otherwise. How's the sound? Good? Oh, that's funny. I just realised writing the initials. Serendipity. Hey, Sundog. I just want to give a shout out to my generous patrons and supporters, and to the newest patrons into the fold. Rico, Alex Nicky, Kiaju, Lewis Pitcher, TH, thanks for the Patron Plus, Artful Smudge, that's a good one, Neil Humphrey and Trevor Ranks. Thanks very much for your support. Thanks, F-Stop. Yeah, I've got the music reasonably low, just so you can hear me over the top of it. We can go a bit louder on the music. I had a realisation just before I started, actually. I think I like the early morning streams because there were less people. It's actually quite nerve-wracking when you think that people are going to show up. Maybe I was self-sabotaging there. I think I was. Because like streaming music production stuff is a bit of a weird one. Because you kind of feel like you've got to make it work, which is good pressure to have. But at the same time, sometimes it just doesn't. There's an element of chance to it, really. Sure, everyone's experienced that making music. Sundog, thank you. Yeah, I do sometimes get out of the studio. Oh, alas, I wish I had more time in the studio than I do. If you can call this a studio. It's just it, but I think what D-Ball said earlier on, setup. Setup's probably the better word for it. I like to keep it mobile and lightweight so I can move around easily. Yeah, I was going to say it must be late in India. The morning streams are better for you. There. The evening ones are just better for people in Europe and America. Most of America. Studio apartment. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to be moving on from here soon. It served its purpose, but... And it is good for playing music loud because I don't really have any direct neighbours. But yeah, the pressure of kind of being on stream and delivering. This is how I'm counteracting it, by easing in, bit of chat, let people join, soak up some vibes of the ambient stuff that's going on right now. Ease into it. Get chatting to you, get chatting to the other humans elsewhere in the world watching this right now. Realising that it's okay, not necessarily a performance. Sundog, I try to record my sessions with OBS, hoping I might upload them. Whenever I remember that OBS is running, I try and do something experimental. I mess up. Oh yeah. I mean, isn't that music really? There's no right or wrong. Everything is just convention across the centuries. Lockman, you should borrow Ned's vocals since he apparently never uses them. We were going to try and do I was going to visit him back in June, it just never worked. I didn't know he had them. I didn't know he had vocals. Bet they're nice. I do have some Yamaha HS5s, which I would have out now, but I wanted to get some buffers for them on the desk, so I could just have them on the desk. And that stopped me setting them up. Although F-Stop has just got bare magazines beneath his, and I thought there was some kind of custom-made thing. Sundog, that's good, yeah. Is it hot there at the moment? What season is it? F-Stop, yeah, they look cool though. Some custom-made, compressed foam thing. Lockman, it wouldn't surprise me if they were vocals or something like that. I don't know what headphones he uses, DT 990s or something like that. Hey JR. Raining all the time. Monsoon season, is it? Yeah, so thanks to all my patrons. If you want your name shouted out and all the other good stuff on Patreon, then all the links are in the description. We'll switch over in a second, and I'll show you what I've been working on. Because tonight is going to be... I feel like I should probably talk you through... talk you through kind of my process for coming up with things that I put into videos, because it's actually quite a fraught, stressful process. Maybe we'll switch over to face cam. They've got the divisions running into Valhalla delay. Running into Soothe. .28 degrees. It was pretty hot here last week. Like 30. Which in September is unusual. So yeah, my process for kind of with the channel, I love live streaming and I love being in the moment and just doing this. And that's the thing that really excites me. But then shorter form tutorial content where you're kind of delivering succinct information is really good for people to find you. And it's a great kind of gateway into the world. And YouTube serves that content more often to people. So I'm kind of always thinking of short form videos that would help grow the channel, would help people, and the kind of thing that people might be struggling with as producers of this, the kind of whatever genre it is that we're making, jungle, IDM, drum and bass, electronic. So yeah, I'm kind of always coming up with these ideas and actually kind of making a succinct 15-minute video where you deliver everything, and being something of a chronic overthinker anyway, they can actually be a lot of work to put these things together. And there's a lot of kind of testing. There's a lot of testing, going through it, scripting it, writing a kind of checklist, a script checklist, and then have it and just kind of working through it, testing it. The way I develop any of these things, or like work out how I like to chop breaks, is that I just repeat and repeat. And every time I'm kind of mindful of new things and new ideas that I have by just repeating the process. And every time I do it, something I kind of figure out a slightly more refined way to do something, or a way that I can add in something additional, or a quicker way, like an efficiency, a time-saving type of thing. So it's a bit of like an iterative process, and I don't just want to. I want it to be something really like wow for people. I want it to be worth their time consuming this stuff, you know. Hey, Go Lab. Thanks very much. Nice drone. Yeah, all the plugins working on the screen at the moment. Divisions, into Drift, into Valhalla Delay, into Soothe, which I've now bought. I bought the full version of that because I was so impressed with it. But yeah, so there's a lot of prototyping and development, even for like a 15-minute video. And sometimes with my schedule being what it is, it's either do a live stream and interact with people and interact, which is what I really love, or shoot a video. And if it's at the end of the day where you've kind of got to deliver something succinctly, cross off all the points, make sure it works and you get good results, it's quite stressful. So I figure, why not just show you guys what I've been doing so far. And either I'll edit the live stream down into something shorter, or it will suggest ideas as to a shorter form video. Maybe I'll do a shorter form video. It's all a work in progress. The product is the process. Yes, the divisions is cool. You know, we can just rub out some lines here. It's going to change what's coming out. Big fan. And why generative? Why do a generative thing? Well, I think it's just to see if it can be done. I think there's something about just, having these ideas and just making the thing. Not necessarily with an end goal in mind, but to see what you discover along the way. That is kind of, because before I started, I was like, why generative? Why? So what? Why not have more crafting approach, or like perhaps something a bit more composed or conceived. And I think it's just the discoveries you have when you're trying to make these things, helps you learn the equipment better, suggest new musical ideas and new things you can add into your own creative process. And it might do something completely unexpected that you hadn't foreseen, It's the accidents. That's where the good stuff is. Sondog. My friend went to South London last month. He ran into a jungle club and found Tim Reaper playing. He was sending me pictures of the city, then I realised that no wonder jungle came from England. Everything looks as if it's made out of glass and steel, like the Think break reminds me of. Me too. Me too. I think the kind of jungle's an unusual one. I think born out of the, Windrush generation and reggae influence. I kind of think of it like it's like a modern UK folk music. Kind of a music of the younger generation of the 90s. A youth music generation. A youth conceived music generation of the 90s. That just captured the zeitgeist perfectly. And like I've said before, like if you're trying to describe it to an alien what jungle was, it would just sound insane. Yeah, we sampled these old funk breaks and sped them up. So we took like snippets from old records, like 20 years old, sped them up, and put synthesizers on top of them, and also sampled lots of other things. We took snippets of sound and kind of made this collage of stuff. What's the name of this line plugin? This one is Divisions by Dylan Baston. Available on Isotonic. And I think if you / anything as with human synthetics at the end of the web link, I get a small kickback on the Isotonic site. I should put this one in the description. F-Stop in the UK was always obsessed with slapping a break on something. F-Stop has got some good stories about going break hunting. Akira, I see a pad in the title, I'm jumping right into it. Nice to have you, hi. I mean, kind of quite paddy already, this, isn't it? You're welcome, GoLab. I still owe you a breakbeat video. The life one. Chopping the life break. Alright, I'll show you what we've been making then. Yeah, thanks F-Stop. Trevor Jackson, Bristol-based Warehouse Beats and Sound System Soul. Pads are hot right now, so yeah, I'm cashing in a button that. And yeah, my immediate thought is always, okay, how could I just press a button and get something different every time? How could I use the computer to kind of generate something interesting for me? How could I take what George Grooving in G has presented on his channel and the stuff from Thought Forms, the 90s, just sampling a single note either really high up on a pad and then putting it in a sampler and using kind of the natural pitch, the modulation that happens when you pitch a sound down. Yeah, how can I kind of just press a note and get and let the computer generate something for me? That sounds good. Okay, so let's fade out. I'll show you what I've been working on. This is the kind of the ambient pads set. So let's give this a play. I'll talk through the signal chain. I've got a MIDI effects rack here. I've got a chord device, which is giving us a major 7th chord. I've locked it in F minor. So if I play an F, it's going to give us an F minor 7th. Then essentially, like when conceiving this thing, I was like, you know, you want what do you want in a good pad? You know, you want some kind of like a synth would be useful. Okay, let's say we're making this jungle pad generator. What would the ideal jungle pad generator have in it? Well, it'd have a synth. It'd have some kind of synthesizer. Like, what's the most versatile synth in Ableton? Probably Wavetable, because it can kind of do all of the things the others can with the most scope for variety of sound. Okay, what else are we going to have? Like, one thing I always like about pads, especially like the old Wavetable synth pads, is these like sparkly percussive layers. So what might be good for that? Well, perhaps we could have the notes going through an arpeggiator and some other MIDI devices into something like Collision, which has really good sparkly sounds and kind of mallet-based percussive sounds that could be swirling around your head and providing a kind of sparkle and shimmer to the pad. The Wavetable, the synth layer, I wanted it going into some reverb. And actually here I've used these Shirobon PS1 reverb impulse responses. That I expect some of you have probably already seen that video, like the PlayStation reverb impulse responses. If you search Shirobon on Bandcamp, you'll be able to buy them. I think they're potentially free or very cheap. I thought that would kind of be authentic, using the PS1 reverb impulse response in hybrid reverb. Then we've got a kind of, it's going into an effect like a shimmer layer that's using Autopan's really good for like generative stuff, because you can putting it on low rate when it's acting as a tremolo, almost like a gate. It's randomly coming in and out. The volume is, so occasionally getting these kind of shimmer swells in the stereo field. Then going into some more Autopan, you know, these good pad sounds is almost like a track in itself. So you want something that's modulating, that's moving, that's wide, that's got depth to it, different spaces to it. Some things are close, some things are far away, some things are low in the pitch register, some things are higher up. Essentially, sometimes they're filling the frequency spectrum. Then I knew I wanted some found sound stuff in it. So I've got a sampler layer that is using different found sound, like nature sounds and stuff like that. What I'll do is I'll show you a couple I've made, and then we'll build one. And then just kind of random of more effects and layering in sampler, using the sample selector modulation control in one of the LFOs with a sample and hold LFO, retrigger on, set to full. It's going to select a different sample every time that you've got in the chain here, with some further effects here. Really, I think, you know, these are the kind of things that I might sit down in kind of conceiving a video or an idea like this, like a proof of concept, and just make loads of them, and just kind of note the different things I was getting every time I made it and went through the process. So it sounds a bit like this. Maybe take it lower. And this was the first one I conceived. Every time we're playing a note, we're getting different Foley sounds. Now, whenever you're making the generative feature comes from the randomisation, which is, now you've got 16 macros that you can map, and I knew I wanted to be able to fine tune the volume of the layers. So that's when I kind of, the more of these I make, I think I'll always have an overall volume control, because I mean, either that or you control them in there and you save yourself 4 macros. And of course, like, the resonance is quite high there. And you want enough controls that you can like fine tune it a bit. And you can hear the kind of shimmer and all the layers coming in. The Foley layer also has, it's the effects. Also has these kind of LFOs mapped to an erosion. Yeah, it's doing all these kind of mad things. One cool thing is to have like the reverbs in different kind of with different decay times. The time control, like, it's always a question of what to map, right? We've got 16 macros. And the more stuff you group, the more possibility of mapping stuff there is. But of course, you know, if we're using the randomize feature here, it will only randomize the controls that are mapped. So you can exclude things as well from the mapping, which I've done for the volume, the chain volume of each thing. Exclude macro from randomization, which is really useful. So we can adjust those to taste, you know. Can hear collision here. Let's go through the layers in solo then. So I've just got one of the oscillators running on Wavetable at the moment. We can add in a second one, and if like to drastically alter the sound, we've got all of these wavetables that we could go through. Now time on Wavetable is a really useful control that allows you to adjust quickly the kind of speed of the envelopes as well as the speed of like the amplitude envelope, so how quickly the attacks coming in. And mod is like the amount of modulation. So these are probably the most powerful 2 controls on the whole of Wavetable, I think. Time and modulation. And not only that, but you can actually use the modulation matrix in Wavetable to modulate them further, like using the LFO. So we could bump this up a little bit here, maybe drop this one down a bit. And this is just the pad layer. And we can further like fine tune it here. I opted to go for modern. I think modern mode in Wavetable is almost like a phase distortion type thing. I mean, if anyone knows any different, let me know. Thanks, F-stop. And within each of the modes, you've got controls like warp and fold in modern. It's different for classic, pulse width and synth. These modes are less useful. You could have none, but at 0, they're not doing anything. It's just like it was in normal. Get rid of oscillator 2. I've got oscillator 2 up an octave. And in later variation, I'll show you another one I've made. I don't have that. This is just the one oscillator we've got here. It's going into a vocoder. I don't even know if we need that, you know. It's nice for a bit of texture, you know. You could even have it on noise. Almost like rain or something. But again, I feel like this isn't something you'd want to have control over in the randomization. It would just be, it would react differently to different core sounds going through it. Yeah, it's almost like rain, isn't it? It's pretty cool. I also don't want it to become unwieldy and have like huge chains of things. You could do that, but I also kind of like to like squeeze the goodness out of a small signal chain. So unison mode is a great kind of like, by just clicking in to adjust these, because you can't map unison mode. Can't map it to macro. But if we went to like phasing, we'll get a completely different sound. And you've got that random shimmer layer coming in every now and again. And hear it being thrown about by the auto pan there with the... You know, you could even do something like mapping. I won't do it to this one because we'll build another one. Let's go into the percussive layer for a... This is collision. It's going through an arpeggiator of the rate that's been mapped to a slow LFO here. Now, the kind of... There's also... Let me talk through it step by step. Arpeggiator going into randomizer. So we've got this chord spitting out 4 notes for us, yeah? So when that hits the arpeggiator, it's like a chord going into it. It's like you've held down the notes. So it's going to arpeggiate those. I've used beat retrigger on, so it's not going all of the time. It retriggers every 4 beats, which I think is a bar, and it does it 3 times every time it retriggers. Then it's being randomized but locked to a scale. So this is the kind of thing you might want, you know, we'd want to map this, but we've had all the controls have been, all the macros have been taken up. Then it's going into random velocity plugin, which or velocity which is set on random. You go into your velocity plugin, which is in MIDI effect. Add some total random, yeah. That's the same thing. So essentially every note will have a different velocity. You can use that in the MIDI section to mess with how the velocity affects certain parameters in the resonator here. So I've used that to, it's going to be affecting like the decay here. You know, it's going to be having a subtle effect on that. We could turn it up to 100 and it'll be affecting more. You can adjust the material. You can, any of these things you can use velocity to affect the magnitude of the control. This is then going into a grain delay with pitch up an octave, feedback at 40%. rhythmic division of 3. I think that's like triplet. 100% dry weight. You know, you can pull that down a bit. Going into a reverb. I think if I got panning adjusted. Where's the pan? So, you know, you might want these things like happening all over. Yeah, that's the percussive layer. Then we've got a Foley layer, which is just found sounds. These are like Yellowstone recording sounds. I've put in a sampler. Every time I play a note, it's going to give me a different sample. I can also use the sample offset. I'm going to play at a different position. One thing we might want is some more attack on it. I also probably only want 2 voices, so that none of them are playing back too much. Nice. You could put any sounds in here, as we will do. Got some panning and some volume automation. Some volume LFO. Swirling around your head. Oh, okay, sample offset is on there. Alright, I'll leave that so it's like a different rate. Each of the samples as well is mapped, is sustain mode is forward and back, so if for any reason you're holding down a really long note and it gets to the end, it will start going in reverse. This is quite cool if you've got sample offset 100 on with the sample and hold frequency very low, because it could play back right at the end of the sample and then start scrolling through backwards, which would be cool. There's no reverb on this because I wanted just the natural sound of the environment of the recording. And this is just some random effects I've chucked in. I've mapped that. I've right-clicked to distribute ranges equally here, and then used the kind of the selector, or the, is it like chain region blend amount, so they kind of blend over one another if for any reason the sample selector offset is in between 2 of them. Again, I would probably set the voices to 2, re-trigger off, just so it's not playing back too many at once if for any reason you play 2 notes consecutively quite quick together. There's some filtering, we'll go through all of this stuff. Lockmond, Lord of the Racks 2 now. Yeah, I do like a nice deep rack like this. It probably takes longer to explain it than it does to just like do it and show, and but I feel like it's important to So it's just me just holding down one key. Yeah, Lockman, this will definitely be VOD. They all are. Oh, Jumanji, how we doing? And essentially, that's the Ambient Pad Generator, or the kind of proof of concept of it. The randomization is coming from this cool macro randomization button. The rest of the randomization is kind of built in, hardwired into the other chains in the rack. And of course, sometimes that doesn't do very much at all because maybe the time's too low, mod's not quite high enough. I've also mapped the collision type of material So you've got string, membrane, all that kind of stuff. As well as the attack, the noise attack on the noise section, which is on. I think by default it's off. That gives some great results just as like 2 controls to map. So this, what I found works really well is actually just resampling a single note quite high up. So I've got this MIDI note at C4, and we'll just re-record this. In fact, I want to turn the MIDI rack off here, actually. I'll just let that kind of fade out a bit. So I've just resampled that. Then we can put this into a sampler, normalize volumes, and we can do a bit more. So this is using that Fort Forms idea of just sampling a single note. Let's use the LFO. Going into the LFO section, I'm going to put the sample offset. I'm going to do that to, like, I don't know, 75 or something. And the type to a sample and hold, retrigger on, frequency 0, 0.01, the lowest it'll go. Essentially, every time it receives a MIDI note, it's going to play at a different point in the sample that we've got here. I'm going to put sustain mode forward and back. Now this is polyphonic, so if you play a chord in, it's going to play at different points throughout the sample. We can add some attack and see what we get out of this. We'll just have to make sure that we've got the sample, the root set to C4, which is the note we recorded. Give it a listen. I mean, I'm going to set the panorama so it's on some of it. I don't know, not that great, that one. That is the kind of, there is an element of chance. It wouldn't be generative if not. So I kind of did another one. I've made another one since, and I've also, here are some of the other kind of single notes I've sampled and made pads out of using Sampler, just from and some of them better than others. Joson, I don't think I said hello, man. How you doing? Yeah, I think the key with this is like definitely the Foley, and I'll get on to more of that when we kind of try have a go at making another one. But yeah, sometimes I find like I go too far one way and then have to kind of scale things back a bit. But yeah, when you start putting in a sampler, this is another single note that I've sampled, and I've got the kind of sample offset set to 30 here and panorama on 40. That's it. We're getting much more kind of usable results in this one. And with voices, we could put this a bit higher, like say 12, so it should carry on. Yeah, that's a good one. But all of that's just that was just randomly generated from this ambient one here. I find that like not too like the kind of basic tones perhaps work better than others. Yeah, that sounds pretty lush, doesn't it? And that's all just from this pad generator. Okay, how you doing, man? Who let's call one? Does the goat? I had to look up what goat meant recently. Okay, so we've got more as well in this one. Oh, that's the one we were just doing, isn't it? Okay, yeah. And some more. Also, I've done this one. Is just that. Okay, what's this one? That's slightly different. What's happening here? This was probably like less evolved, that one. That's a definite keeper, that one. I have to remember AW 90s Ambient Pad. Let's just call that for now, because I'll put this all on Patreon. What's this one? Okay, so I've done a similar thing in this one. So we're using the LFO mod section, the sample offset at 50. Same thing, sample and hold, low frequency, retrigger on, panorama at 50 as well. And the attack's quite high and the release is quite long. Voices at 12 and retrigger off with a low frequency. So what does this give us? You can hear a lot of the Foley that you're hearing in the others, like the birds. This one. What's happening in this? I've got various multiple pads here. They're probably all playing at different octaves. Again, they're all single notes. They've just come from one of the generators. Hey Lee. The suspense of waiting for some big drums is too much right now. This is what happens with these pads, isn't it? I hope this is loud enough for you people. Yeah, nice. And this is just like the only modulation that's coming just from the sample itself. Like I say, sample offset is polyphonic. And again, this was just from a single note sampled using one of these generators. Okay, you're hearing the birds and stuff probably because I'm just testing it out. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, so the concept is like print a note and every time you see it, it's going to be playing back a different place. And we can change the amount, we can make it like full. Yeah. Again, all that texture and stuff is just built in, is hard baked in the single note. Yeah, the release, you want high release. And you probably want voices at something like 12 with, as far as I know, when enabled notes which are already playing will be re-triggered. Rather than generating an additional voice, turning this on saves, but we don't want that. We want it to like sustain the original note, I think. That's a bit of a big boy. Let's talk about this one though. This is another generator that I've made that again has got Wavetable. I haven't mapped anything in this yet, but it's producing some pretty good results just with them using the modulation matrix from Wavetable. I'm also using collision. We've got some additional stuff here, expression control, some more LFO, some more panning before it hits a grain delay. 2 grain delays going into a reverb here. Then I've got some noise. I've just got some noise sounds from a free noise pack. And now these found sounds, like ambient recordings, there's way more of these. I will link below to where you can buy these, because it's for a good cause. It's WWF. But yeah, there's more modulation stuff happening in the sample itself. So really, like this kind of the concept of this is synthesizer, some additional synth layers, Foley, in samplers with a good selection of stuff, a good selection of sounds. Let's hear this then. No, that's... This is probably too loud. Playing your beats, are they? Yeah, these found sounds are pretty good. We probably want the release higher on this. I think I only just added these in last night, literally before I was like, I need to stop working on this now. We probably want more release on the found sound too as well. On the noise, this naturally has release on it anyway, as does the Wavetable. Different unison mode. But I'm actually using hybrid reverb in shimmer mode with the pitch up full to save on the amount of devices that are going into this. I think I might just leave that one as it is for now. Let's try it with this one, shall we? Let's just sample a single note at C4, is it? Got some like motorbike sound or something. Let's make a pad with this sound. Drag it in. Simpler sampler. Normalize volumes. We've got like all this mad stuff here. Let's go make the attack quite long. Long release. Voices at 12. Retrigger off. Modulation. LFO2 on. We're going for sample offset. Let's set it to like 50%. Sample and hold. Frequency at 0.01. Retrigger on. Let's use the panorama. Let's maybe set this at 75. See what this sounds like. Oh, we've got to make sure the root is at, I think it's at, what is it, 42? No. Something like this. Okay. Let's see, hopefully it sounds like. Quite a lot of noise going on there. Maybe reduce the volume down. So kind of stuff like that gives you feedback as, okay, the noise layer, why would that be? Is that because the samples are different volumes potentially? I think you can choose to normalize them all. They look like they all vary in volume a bit. I kind of like the things that's happening with the noise, like coming in and out. Yeah, potentially, you know, wouldn't use that one. Even user. something like this, use the filtering on the sampler. You know, which might be a nice layer to have on like this one. You could drop it down. You could even like put an EQ on this, so we're just getting kind of like high up stuff. You got that whistling. You can hear it. That's cool. I think you definitely want a bit of grit in these pads sometimes as well, as it not just textural grit but like harmonic grit clashing between the notes. Hey, arcologies. Sounds like a pitched up tornado siren. Do you have them? Kind of thing, is it? Arcologies knows its pads. Okay, let's have a go at making one. Again, making another one. Wavetable. I'm going to start with Wavetable. We're going to use shimmer. Let's use some MIDI devices. I am making a 90s Ambient Jungle Pad Generator. It's just if I decide to edit this down. And why 90s? Well, I do think the kind of good-looking records, book 'em and stuff like that. You know, the hallmarks of a lot of them were these big pads, Shogun and stuff like that. Artists like that I really love. Grit Fernberg, hey fellow passenger, how are you? I was having some fun with your samples in Quanta 2 last night. What's Quanta 2? Okay, so we just got a sine wave here, you know. Probably bring the polyphony down, -18. We're in modern mode, we want that. You know, just even the unison is wicked on this. Something like that, phase sync. Very nice. And if we go over to the matrix section here, I've talked about this before, but I really like using let's get the LFOs going. Say on oscillator position, we could set this to something like, I'm going to keep the values quite conservative because we're going to use time, and let's start mapping now. Right, let's group this. Okay, we definitely want time and we definitely want amount. These are like super useful controls. We'll just start with warp alone. We get interesting stuff. And I'm going to put this LFO quite low, because I want to take advantage of the fact that we can use the amount and the time to make it quicker. You see, global mod at 200 is going higher, so maybe we want to set this to like 50. Now it's going full at 200. Maybe we want to set this LFO to, like, I don't know, double the speed or something. We can make it triangle. And we could put, like, oscillate position -25 as well. I want to turn retrigger off on the LFOs. At warp, we can maybe make it 20. Well, I might make this -25. Make this like 5. We want some attack, don't we? We want release up. We want sustain up 4. Let's put the attack at like 2 seconds. Okay. Now we probably want some filter business, don't we? I'm going to use the envelope 2, but for our filter, probably set that to like 50. See if we're moving up there. Let's maybe make the attack quite slow. Pull up this kind of the slope here. Maybe pull it out like that. Nice. Maybe set the resonance up a bit. Very nice. Maybe you could use a second filter and we'll have them running in parallel. We can have this like a band pass. Or can we split them for the oscillators? Let's split them for the oscillators. That could be fun. I haven't done that yet. Now on oscillator 2, let's do a similar thing. Let's start putting some stuff in them. Maybe do this like -25, 25. I got distracted with the MIDI stuff, so I'm just going to add in a scale. Mine is set to F minor automatically, and I'm going to pull in a chord. I'm going to do a minor 7th. Is that right? I don't know why that's. Maybe it's set to C minor. Okay, so on this second oscillator, got this bandpass filter. Let's maybe use envelope 3 for that. We can have this like moving up from like quite low or something. Maybe we could go from quite high. And it could go down. Maybe I've set that wrong. Maybe one that's going up. Why is this not happening? Got to. Okay, let's put -100. That sweeps down. I want it being slow though. Be split, shouldn't it? Later 2. Turn modern on, warp on. Let's set that 50. -25. f-stop granular thing, also good for pads. Cool. You can wind chimes as scaffold poles, maybe. Okay, that's what I want. I want this at -50, maybe. Okay. Therefore, put it -50. Yes, that's what I want. And then I want the release on this envelope pie. Yeah, I want that. Even adjust. Well, the time is going to make it longer. Gosh. I think, yeah, like making use of as many controls. Let's turn the sub on, the octave at 0. I'm just going to set and forget this. I won't map any of that stuff. I think what I will... I mean, even just turning the random on this... And the you know, the amount... I feel you can maybe pull in an auto filter after this. Maybe this could be what we use for like the filtering. Maybe we could have some, I mean, you could do some filter business with the LFO in here, but just to kind of control the amount overall of like high stuff. I'll just put the voices to 4 on this, and then we'd have some control. Definitely want more release. Nice. That could be cool, couldn't it? Why don't we map the the amount. I mean, you don't want to go to the amount could be cool. Then we can randomize these. I feel like we need to go into some reverb here. Let's go into the reverb after. Let's use the shimmer. Let's use the shimmer, and let's use the Shiraban, the PlayStation one. PS. I need to put these in Breaks Jungle. Oh. Breaks Jungle. Yeah, feel that's fine. Let's go for Dome. If I just pull that in there now. That's pretty nice. Good, but the resonance is sometimes a bit unwieldy. I feel like having control over the position is something you want, because it can really give you dramatically different results when you click the randomizer. Let's exclude resonance from the variation. Oosh. See what else we'll do. Let's actually map these. This can go on map from that. Yeah, thank you, Arcologies, thank you, F-stop. I want to map this, right, because we can exclude this, yeah. And the randomization. We've got that quite high. And if we want to jump into mess around the oscillators, we can just, you know, turn one off. I think it's better to have like a suite of these generators that each do different things, you know. Yeah, I could get lost in these. Okay, that feels like a pad layer, and then you can like we could just cycle through the shapes, you know. Going to basics, I don't know, harmonics. Oh yeah, we wanted to map the oscillator position, yeah. Almost like you don't. Okay, let's go before we start adding the digital. Oh, what else have we got? Harsh vocal. I have to watch the polyphony. Oh, it's maximum 8. Okay, definitely for unison voices on 4. Let's jump into some environmental sounds now. Let's see if we can make a leaner one. Although I don't like. I mean, this feels a bit like cheating because I'm just using some found sounds rather than making things. But that's where I think let's do the collision layer first. Yeah, let's do the collision layer. Okay, so we've got collision here. So let's have a listen now to this. Okay, great, nice. So we don't want that. We want notes spread out. So we're using arpeggiator for that. We don't want it to be metronomic. Or maybe we do. Maybe we want that. We definitely don't want it happening all the time. So quite like for every bar, maybe just have 2 or something. Steps at 1. I'm going to bring in a scale. Now this might be something to think about with this, is that, you know, are we going to lock the whole thing up and make sure it's all like, you know, locked to. I've done it, grouped it up now, so now we could start mapping these here, and then the whole thing's going to be like. You see what I mean though about like developing these things? It's like there's so many ways. I guess it's just showing people one way and not worrying about showing every conceivable permutation of what's possible. I thought you do want it free, you know. You know, I feel you want an LFO on it to kind of randomly move through around in speed. That kind of makes it sound like it's not being, you know, it's not just being played by an arpeggiator. So we probably want it at what, like 50 plus 50%. That's going from there. It's probably a bit 60. Definitely going too quick at the moment. Maybe we put it on random and have the smooth at 100. So that's quite cool because it kind of moves through very smoothly in the transitions. Bit slow, maybe. The gate doesn't make too much difference, really. We could use triangle, have the jitter at 100. I want noise on. Let's put this random at 100. I think it's panning. Back to random. Let's bring in expression control. Oh, I'm going to have that. Oh, I've got one that's saved that's just random. Oh, good. I thought I'd been on longer than I had. Because once we've made this, I'll pack this setup as it exists and I'll put it on Patreon. Okay, I want to change the style. Let's use random. And let's set it to buy mode. So it's going to go up and down. Maybe put this at 50. I definitely want to map this. I want to map the membrane, I want to map the attack, because that gives us a lot of options. Okay, cool. It didn't take me this long to set it all up, it's just I'm talking through it. Now random. That's cool. I feel like we want these. Let's use AutoPan. This is really nice little trick with AutoPan. You know, you can just use it as a kind of gate of sorts. We can make it quite a slow rate. Make it like that. Or even just like this or something. If we invert it as well. Okay, let's put some grain delay on that. That's kind of useful. We'll adjust the volume in a second. Let's use a grain delay. Put it after here so we know what's going on. Should we use an pitch at 12? It's like random little glitchy bits, you know. Let's... use a reverb. Okay, now that leaves us controls to map the layers, doesn't it? So, okay, let's bring in a found sound now. I'm going to map the spray expression control as well. That'll do for now. We'll see, like, if we need to adjust it, we can. All the feedback on the grain. You know, you can even have 2 grain delays. Maybe 1 down a 5th or something. Pull that foot up. Okay, great. That's cool. We're onto something there. And now I'm going to use some samples that I got today, and these are free field recordings from Livestream. I've paid for these so I can use them. So I'm going to pull in and I will link in the description. I think I've already mentioned it. I'll link to where you can get those. We can buy them. Mainly because it's a donation for a good cause. Let's just pull all of these in, yeah? I mean, maybe we don't want some of the stuff. Forest, yeah. Glitch, yeah. Yeah, I suspect everyone's got like guinea pigs, maybe not. Heavy rain, yeah. Music box, why not? Ocean waves, yep. One day old puppies, maybe not. Rain and thunder, yeah, we want all that good stuff. Random guitar plucks, record dust, yeah. Storm in the forest, hydrophone, all this stuff. This is good. Cozy cat, didgeridoo. We definitely want that, don't we? Okay. Dripping. I don't know. I'll take some of these. Yep. This'll do. I'd say, like, you know, there's loads of places you can get free recordings, free field recordings. Puppies, pass, yeah. I mean, like, you just, it's kind of distracting when you just occasionally get weird sounds like that, or like restaurant sounds where someone is talking. Okay, let's listen to this layer now then. So, I'm going to have the voices set to retrig. I'm going to turn off. I'm going to go into my sample zone. I'm going to highlight all of them, and I'm going to distribute ranges equally. So that now I think the sample offset, if I turn the LFO2 on, sample offset. Sorry, sample selector. That's the fact. I think it like modulates the chain selector. Point. Sample and hold. Frequency down. That's it. Every time I press a note, it should be a different sample. Very nice. Let's turn them all to be this. Maybe we could do. Let's use the. I like to use the devices like inbuilt stuff. You know, making. Nice. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Sampler is so powerful. I love it. Nice bit binaurally. I want to know if it'll like do that. So I've got one sample selector on sample and hold, and then I don't think it does. I don't think it works. I don't want that. Like something like that, it's like, oh, that's an interesting result, isn't it? I don't want to do this. And you can even have it like on sample and hold. Don't quite get what's happening there. It's pretty cool though. Is it like just C? You know, you could use panorama on this as well. And let's use a reverb on these, yeah. Oh, we use a different space. Maybe we could use hybrid reverb again. Okay. That's pretty cool. I'm just going to lift the noise layer from this one I made and put it in here. This is just noise. It's been treated in a similar way. I tell you what, maybe we do want this as one voice, yeah. Alright, now let's map these to 13, 14, 15, 16, map them again to 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and we're going to call these, this is the pad layer. This is the chime layer. This is the Foley layer. And this noise layer. Okay, and then we've got 2 left. Time. Global. Frequency. Resonance. LFO amount. LFO frequency. Pause. 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 To pause. Reso material. Noise attack. Oh, we've got 2 slots left. Leave those as they are for now. AW 90s Pad 90s Ambient Jungle Pad Generator. Put the date 230913. Sick. Okay. We want to exclude these from randomisation. Okay, so I've made this 4 times now, and it seems like the things I'm repeating are working along with the odd addition. You know, something like phaser might be cool, but you've kind of got these unison modes providing a lot of power. Let's randomize it. Okay. Okay, before I save it, let's, like, for that, we could just sample a note. See what it's like sampling a note. Nice. That's just a single note sampled. Short form styly. F-stop. Free to use sounds. Yeah, thank you. Any good resources for free ambient sounds, and like really I should have used something like that, but yeah, Luftroom, as F-stop's put in the chat, does make Lunaris. In fact, I'd have Lunaris now. I bought Lunaris 2. It was my birthday not too long ago, and yeah, it's amazing, and you'll see lots of it. I'll be using it loads, I suspect. Right, let's try and make a pad with that single note. Are many people still there? I can't see my stats actually. Let's do the same thing in here. Let's turn the attack up. Release up. Voices to 12. Retrigger off. Maybe this will make something good. I am 38 now. 38 years old. I can't believe it, really. Sample offset. Yeah, let's turn you up to maximum. Usual drill, you've seen it happen. Sample offset. Panorama. The panorama 50%. Okay. Make sure we got... Nice, okay. D4, yeah. You can type the numbers in. I've got, what is it, 72? Yeah, great. Okay, now we sampled to C, so everything should play back, play back in key. What I'd say, it's kind of surprising oh, I know why. It's because we're not, it's because I've left the flipping chord and scale on. That's why. That's why it sounds like that. I think I did that earlier. Okay, let's try again. Don't worry too much if it's like... Thanks for the happy birthday wishes. Okay, good. Again, let's pull that in here. Normalize everything else. And you can make this with your own plugins, your own favorite plugins. Don't have to use Ableton stock. Everything will go on Patreon though. Right, let's bye bye. Okay, now we're talking. 72. I guess it's because the noise is like stacking up. Should we try again? Let's randomize it, yeah. See what we get. Okay, cool. We'll just start like that, yeah. I love that chime layer, that's cool. Alright, nice. Attack quite high. 5 seconds or so. Release quite long. Voices 12. Retrigger off. Modulation LFO2. Sample offset. Full. Panorama. Let's put the panorama at. It'll mean each note is polyphonic, so everything's different. Make sure we've got the C note set correctly. 72. Fingers crossed. Yeah, nice. What was this one like? Quite noisy. Delete that one. That's nice too. I think we're on to a winner with this one. Randomise again. Oh, cool. Again, that might be a nice one to... I feel like we want more attack on the noise layer. Quite nice, it like kind of comes in slower. Let's try resampling that again. One thing I've realised is that maybe we could group this. Yeah, one thing I have realised is that when you're only playing back a single note, you're only getting kind of spark. You're not getting an arpeggiated sparkle. There are ways around that, but might just be too complicated. I'm going to layer these now. I'm going to leave the root as C3 because or maybe we could put it as C5, so we'll get like 72, 84. We'll get a different effect now if we do that. We can maybe make the panorama more extreme. Maybe drop them down both in volume a bit. Yes. That's lush. How's that for an ambient pad jungle generator? Ambient jungle pad generator. We could even like we could duplicate that again and change the pitch so it's lower. I think, what is it, 60? Okay, now this one should be high now. I want this to be like that. And they'll all be playing back from different start positions, so we'll get like phasing and stuff with different panorama too. Let's make this really slow, quite slow, yeah. Sick. Come on, that's pretty nice. Thanks, F-Stop. Yeah, I think that is pretty... And then really for stuff like this, you just need to map the release a bit. You probably want it longer than that, so it's just like not long enough. So I feel like it's definitely, you know, like let's just carry on and make one more of these things. And we'll just layer them up with different pitches. I'll tell you what we'll do. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay, you're definitely getting sampled then. Right. It's interesting because like if you with these longer found sound things, stuff happens, stuff unfolds. Okay, right, you could be one. Let's record another one. Yeah, let's randomize it. And let's change, I don't know, let's go to a different wavetable. Complex. See what that's like. Okay, yeah, quite aggressive. Okay, one more. Randomize it twice. Let's switch up the wavetables. Let's change the shimmer mode. Sorry there. Yep. Okay, let's pull in a sampler. Gotta do that. We want them each. Or do we? No, we don't. We want them grouped like this. Okay, let's just do one at a time. Normalize volumes. We'll set this one at true. Yeah. Maybe we'll pull this down a bit, like -18. Make the, let's map the attack. Let's map the release, yeah? Make the voices 12. And re-trigger off. LFO. Sample offset. Full. Sample and hold. A panorama. More motion. Yeah, you can call this 1. Back, release. Let's duplicate this, right, preserve mapping to. All of the LFOs will be different as well. That's the joy of these things. It's like a simple. We want this one to be that as well. Layer 2. In this. Normalize. Everything else as is. And then duplicate 3. Normalize backwards and forwards. Okay, yeah, we just need to, let's make this 80. 84. And we'll make this, we'll leave that there. So essentially that will be like mid, low, because it's in reverse, and high. We probably want low, maybe we call this low. Mid, high, right, and we're going to want the attack like long and the release long too, like maybe 15 seconds or something. Okay, what have we got here? I like both of those. Let's just put these, organize these a bit. Just like pad 1, pad 2, because I like these are working. Just like this is the resampling section. Where are the generators? So we've got a generator there, generator there, generator there. They're all slightly different in, what's this one saying? Nope, what's this one? Just call this pad 3. Do the same thing with it. This sample offset trick is like the thing. Don't really think that's a keeper, that one. This could be, you know, this is the kind of thing where you just do the same thing again. Especially when you're doing the sample offset, because it's going to be just different every time. Pad 4. What was this? Again, I think you could adjust the polyphony on these. Pads are generally quite CPU intensive because they're long evolving sounds. That's a keeper. We've got here. Keeper. doing the same thing again. But it's things like this I realise what the steps are just because I've repeated them so often. Pad 8, and these are more generative stuff, but that is for another video. That's for another live stream. Okay, so let's get rid of you two. Okay, so there we go. We've created 8 pads. 23, 09, 13. No, I don't do the human synthex pads. What on earth is the convention that I follow? It's just that, isn't it? A human synthex. 23, 09, 13. Really, I should. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Pull them over there. Great, I've got them saved from different projects. It's not the ideal way to save them. I'd probably name them something, but that's fine. When we've got the generator. We'll call it Jungle Pad Generator 1, Jungle Pad Generator 2, Jungle Pad Generator 3. JPGs, JPEGs. Get rid of all this stuff. I can share the project. Okay, cool. Let me save it as today's date. Right, that is kind of like a proof of concept, 3 proofs of concept of a pad generator thing. I think they've all got. Pretty happy with all of those. Let's also call this AW. We'll call it HS, yeah. BPGs 23, 09, 13, and I'm going to save it for myself as well for future projects. Cool. So I think I I think now I'd probably leave this to sit a bit and maybe see if I use them in productions and stuff like that. I could certainly see myself using the deeper pad sounds I've made. Some of those are really cool. Lovely. Quite a long one this evening. I don't know if anyone's still about. I am going to let this collect into project, collect and save. So yeah, I think that was definitely a jungle pad, a 90s ambient jungle pad generator. Changes were saved successfully. I'm going to I'll pack this all up and put it on Patreon now. Yeah, so I think I definitely achieved the proof of concept 90s ambient jungle pad generator. I think the found sounds make a big difference. And I think really if I was making like a video about this, it feels a bit of a cheat to kind of use found sounds, but also like the synthesis and the collision tricks are pretty cool. And then just any found sound will do, even effects, just kind of samples that are non kind of tonal. Was that good? F-stop, thank you. How do you think it? How do you think the proof of concept went? I'm using that term just like, I don't know why I'm using that term so much. It just seems to fit. Hey, Alan. How you doing? Just been generating some pads. That's a good one, that pad one. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with these. They sound really cool. Okay, I'm going to share that on Patreon probably tomorrow now. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Some violins or something. And I guess this is the thing with anything generative. There's kind of there's slices of the musical pie you can take with a generative device. You're never going to get the whole thing. And it's nice to make lots of different ones and have these things spit out stuff for you, or at least help you far along in the process. I think you can just get lost in them. Okay. I'm going to say a little thank you again to my patrons. And yeah, maybe I'll just hold a chord. Yeah, you can have lots of acoustic textures. That would be cool. I guess I was trying to hit on the kind of the jungle vibe, like with synthesizers specifically. Like what I find is good is to kind of just prototype one thing. So prototype like a specific way of doing something, and then like to achieve, right, this is going to be this thing that achieves this thing, and then you can start to proliferate and make a simple thing work, and then expand it and make it more complicated as you kind of have new ideas about it. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off now, guys. I'm gonna sign off. That's almost a 3-hour stream, which is quite long for a music stream. I hope that was useful. I will chapter up the video afterwards. You'll just see it as it is. And yeah, I'll see you again next week, same time, 8 PM UK for another live stream, either doing something like this, working on music, or starting something new. I may well do a vote again because, yeah, thanks to everyone who voted on what I should do. Maybe we'll do some experimental sound design next week, see what people think. And now I'll just mull it over whether I make this into a full tutorial or not, a 15-minute tutorial, like covering that in 15 minutes. Or 10 minutes, if possible. Yeah, thanks, F-Stop. Thanks, everyone, for checking in. Making the chat good. Yeah, and if I don't see you before next Wednesday, have a good weekend. All right. Thanks, everyone.